don't know if anybody is still here, but I'm restarting my stream. If you are here, let me know if you can hear me. I am back. I had a microphone that died. So let me get into the chat. I don't blame if nobody's here with me, and that's perfectly fine. But I am back up live. So again, let me know if you can hear me, if you have come back. And let's go to, yeah, let's take a look. So I don't know that anybody has come back yet. Okay, here we go. Steve is here. He says he hears me. Thank you, Steve. All right, what's going on, man? I am sorry. What it was, and I'm gonna hold up the culprit right here. And it took me a minute to figure this out. This guy here died on me. It's a I bought this mic. It was actually came as a pair of mics from Amazon, and the first one lasted a couple of months, and this one lasted a couple of months more. They sounded great, but now they're crap. So that is done. I have a different microphone luckily that I have, and I am glad that I have it. So now you guys can hear me. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it, guys. We way behind schedule here dealing with that stuff. Steve, like I said, he's been a great supporter, a great subscriber of mine, and he's going to get a little more flowers a little bit later. But he, thank you for being the first one back and saying that he can hear me. Adrian James, always here, always says we're back. Thank you, Adrian. Epic Tastic Joshua is here, and I'm not sure if I think this is the first time I've seen him in one of my live streams, but I've been following him on Instagram, and he's got some great movie content. So I'm honored that you have decided to come and hang out with me for a little bit. Um, thank you, thank you. So what we're doing again is we just going over some things that I picked up over the last 4 or 5 months because I haven't done one of these kind of videos in a while. So it's not a ton when it might look like a ton because of you know it's all together, but it's not really a ton when you figure like that or realize that it's over several months of buying stuff. So we're gonna go through that. Anything that has a digital code, I'm just gonna give it away because I don't use them, and I know some of you do, and or some of you just may want to. Some of you may use it for the purpose of, you know what? Let me look at this movie and before I decide if I want to buy it, because I know a lot of my viewers are physical media collectors like myself, and you may just want to say, "Hey, I don't know if I want to buy that, but let me watch it and see what's happening." So yeah, anything. I'm just gonna get the code. I'm gonna put it up on the screen. First come, first serve. Anybody who all I ask is that if you get the code, just put it in the comments that you got it. That way, other people won't be trying to get it. Um, all the codes at the end that are not that I realize that are not given away, that I know are not given away or not taken, I will put them in the comment section for this video. So anybody wants to go back and watch the replay, you can check out one of those codes and see if they're still available. I can't promise you that they will be because again, it's going to be a first come first serve thing. Holland is here. What's going on, Holland? Holland is always around, and Steve saying what's up to him. And Corey is here. Hey, Corey. He says, "Hey, Corey. I've watched Corey grow into a great YouTuber, and I'm really happy for him. Except when he's playing those video games where he's walking along the roof. But I'm just giving you a hard time, Corey. Um, and yes, Holland is saying hey to everybody. So I'm gonna reach over here, so you might hear some noise because I'm kind of grabbing things to show you guys. And the first thing I want to show you is actually going to be lots of noise. So yes, because I still got it in the bag because they haven't even made it to the shelf yet because I'm still trying to figure out how to make room. And the first thing I'm going to show you actually does not have a digital code. I know that. Um, but for me, this is the most important thing that I purchased this year, and that's just for me. It's not the best movie, so don't think that once I show you what it is, that oh, this is the greatest movie of all time, you just got to see it. No, that's not the case. Um, we can even debate if it's even a good movie. But why is it important to me? It's important to me because I grew up, as I've said this before on my channel. I grew up in the '70s. I am you close to the exact same age as hip hop. I'm pretty close, right? When hip hop, I'm maybe 2 years older, actually, 2 or 3 years older, depending on which date you go with. So I grew up in that culture, around that culture, with that culture, and this is the first movie to portray that culture, and it is incredibly important for that. Um, that movie is Wild Style, and this is the Arrow Super Duper 4K edition that just came out not that long ago. You see the price tag on here says $60, and let me break that down for you. And I'm really doing this in case my wife is downstairs watching. But it's yes, the price tag on here says $60, 20% off. I had a gift card on top of that, so I came out of pocket like $10 off on a $60 item. And I'm gonna open it up because I don't know what's in here. So let's go ahead and take this out. We got all that plastic off. And I haven't even really watched any unboxings on this either, so I don't know what's on it. I've seen people post about it on Instagram, and I've seen a few videos about it on YouTube, but I haven't really watched those. So this is the what it looks like without the box. There's the box, and I'm not going to do this for every movie, so I'm not going to try to keep everybody here all night. Um, but there is the box. And when we open it up on the inside, we have the oh, we got a poster here. I didn't know that there was a poster. So let's open up the poster. I'm gonna lean back a little bit and see if I can get as much of this poster on camera as possible. This is there we go. That's one side. It is the other side is the movie poster. So that is the poster, and you get this pretty thick booklet. Arrow is Arrow and Criterion are right there for me as my favorite boutique labels. They just do great work, at least as far as I'm concerned. And here is the movie itself. And open it up. We got some stickers. Yeah, we got some wild style stickers in here. That's cool. And then there's the movie. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, there's the movie. There's a stickers movie 4K version, and oh, we got 3 disc in here. I didn't even pay attention to that. We got some extras over here, and we have an exclusive CD. So we got the old school music in here. Okay, I didn't even realize that that was in there. But yeah, that's for me is really the highlight of my physical media buying year. Um, because of the subject matter, and it's been so hard to find it. It was on DVD. It was stuck on DVD forever, and Arrow go ahead and went ahead and gave us this 4K, gorgeous 4K, and I'm very, very, very happy to have this in the collection. And we had a few new faces pop in, or some that I didn't acknowledge, even if they were here a few minutes ago. Uh, I talked about Dimension Scott. He's another great YouTuber, and I, I've done a lot of video game stuff over the last year or so. And we have Kira. Is this Kira? Because I've not seen this. Is it Kira SL5 year? It looks like, and I'm gonna assume that that's Kira of Mika and Kira of the twins. And if it's not, let me know if I'm wrong, or let me know if I'm right. And she says, "Hey, what's up?" About the best. All I can say for that. All right, so let's go ahead and get to something else that this was something else that I didn't purchase also, and it came in this bag here, and I was shocked when when this showed up. And I go to my mailbox one day, and I open it up and it's just there. And sometimes my wife or my daughters or somebody in the house will order something off Amazon and use my account sometime. And not all the time, but sometimes they do. And so I wasn't sure if this was one of those things that they ordered. And then I kind of felt the bag a little bit, and I was like, wait a minute, this feels like movies in here. So I was like, I didn't buy anything. So here's what happened, guys. I have an Amazon wish list. I don't publicize it. I do put it on my it is in my description on all my videos, and but I don't really talk about it too much. But it's kind of like, hey, if you want to donate to the collection, here's my Amazon wish list. And someone did, and that someone is Steve, who is in the chat. So everybody say thank you to Steve for me as I'm saying it to Steve. And he got me a couple of things here that were on my wish list. So I'm just going to show those. And the first thing he got me, and incidentally enough, these are all upgrades from DVD that I had just been dragging my feet on. So I put them on my wish list uh, to eventually upgrade them myself. And the first one is Spike Lee's Crooklyn, uh, one of my favorite Spike Lee movies. And I tell people who say that they're not Spike Lee fans, because there's a lot of people. He's kind of a polarizing director to watch Crooklyn. Crooklyn is the most accessible of his movies, and I mean that from like a mainstream standpoint. There's Crooklyn, and then there's Inside Man. Those are probably the two most mainstream of his movies. Even though Crooklyn didn't do mainstream numbers like Inside Man did, and it's not even one of his highest grossing ones, like Black Klansman a few years ago got all Oscar love. But Crooklyn is the one that is most relatable to the most people. So I would definitely say watch that. Another one is a movie I grew up with in the '80s, and I was a big Mr. T fan back in the day, and that is DC Cab. And I love DC Cab. It's hilarious. It's terrible, and all of those things. Uh, um, I love it. I love it. Aside from Mr. T, you got Gary Busey's in here. You got Charlie Barnett, who had a tragic end, but was a great, great comedic talent on his way up. He had some issues with drugs, and that's what eventually led to his undoing. He passed away from AIDS, and Irene Cara. This is really first time I saw her on screen. Well, second time because I saw Fame before this, and her music was in both movies, and so really had a good time with that one. And this one is a classic horror film, John Carpenter's The Thing. Again, I actually do have this on Blu-ray, which is one of the reasons why I was dragging my feet on upgrading this one because I was like, do I really need to upgrade that one? I was like, yeah, I do, but I'm not in a rush. And then Steve came through and got me the 4K of that. And this one does have a digital code. So let's go ahead and pop this one open, guys. And I had my handy dandy scissors over here somewhere. But hey, fingers did the trick this time. And so let's go ahead and get this off of here. What happens? I'm going to put it to the screen. I'll try to hold it for a few seconds. Um, If I need to type it in, let me know if you cannot see it. If I need to type it into the chat or type it on, put it on a banner and put it up on the screen, I will do that if I have to. But let's see. Let's see how this transfers to the screen. So yeah, once again, first come, first serve. If you want it, it is yours. I'm not going through the whole trivia thing tonight or anything like that. I didn't look up anything. And let's see if let's get the glare off of there first, and let's see if you can see that. Let me know if you can see that. So, because I can't really tell if you can see it. It just looks all blurry from my end because I'm behind it, and it is up there. And I'm gonna kind of scroll through see if anybody can do it. And yes, no, thank you, Steve, very very much. And he's saying thank you to Corey, who said very nice. and I'm gonna put it down, and you know what, I'm just gonna try and see if I can type it. So if my camera's jumping, it's because my camera is attached to the laptop that I am shooting with right now, and I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can type this in real quick. I usually type pretty quick, but when I'm with me trying not to destroy the visual quality of this already crappy stream, I'm gonna see if I can not make it too terrible. And so yeah, forgive me that my head is in the camera like it is. All right. So there is a digital code for the thing. So once again, if you decide to pick it up, if you decide to get it, go ahead and just put that into the chat. If no one decides to claim it, that is perfectly fine. I will leave that comment. You know what? I'm not. I'm changing mid stream here. I'm not going to put it in the comment for. I will. You know what? I will. I will put it in the comment section of this video, and I will also put it into Hey Johnny, and I will also put it on Instagram. So if nobody claims any of these codes, that's what I will do. I'll put them in the comment section or in the description of this video, and then I will put it up on Instagram also. And again, it's just going to be first come first serve because I'm not going to use it. And thanks again to Steve for that. Is a after Wild Style, the second most important things that I've gotten this year, and that's because it comes from a subscriber, and that just tells me that you were kind enough to do something for me, and I really appreciate it. Um, I have to figure out a better way to reciprocate this. And Steve says, "I knew I felt cooler for some reason." Yeah, because Johnny's here. Johnny's that guy. So we all appreciate Johnny. And again, there's a digital code for the thing. I will leave that on the screen for a minute while I go grab the next batch. And this next batch is also from Barnes and Noble, as the not also it is from Barnes and Noble. This is as Wild Style was. I got Wild Style from Barnes and Noble. So this is the other haul from Barnes& and Noble, and this is actually a couple different times, couple different trips back, again with gift cards and discounts and all that because I'm a member, club member or whatever they call it at Barnes& and Noble, so I get discounts every so often. And so this is what happened. Well, I went in November because of the Criterion sale, and I picked up one. I picked up one Criterion. If you remember back in July, I picked up a whole lot of them, and but not this time. I only picked up one Criterion on this sale, and that was the 4K of The Wiz. So I This is a movie I grew up with in my childhood. If anybody hasn't seen it, it is literally the Black Wizard of Oz, but it does so much of its own thing. And The Wizard of Oz, let's be 100%. It's a classic, and it's a great film. I love it. I'll not, you know, try to change history. I will say that I think it's the better film, and but The Wiz is the film that I go back to more often. And again, it's something I grew up with in my household, in my family, my neighborhood. Everybody who loves The Wiz or watched The Wiz at least anyway, even if they didn't love it. And as an adult now, going back to it, it just does so much weird, odd stuff that it's just fun to watch. It's got its problems, of course. Diana Ross is way too old to play Dorothy. It's a bit too long. Some of the musical numbers go on forever, but they're fun most of the time. And so that is my 4K of The Wiz. And a lot of you got it back in July, and there was some problems with the disc, so it wasn't available. And that's the booklet that it comes with. And there's the inside of The Wiz. Again, I'm not going to go through all of these, but the Criterion ones, you kind of have to unbox those, right? Well, also picked up on that. I want to say it was the same trip. I'm not 100% sure. Um, Actually, you know what? I think it was a different trip. But another time I was there and I also picked up the movie. This one does have a digital code, so I will go ahead and put that on the screen in just a minute. And yeah, I'll put that up on the screen in just a minute. I did watch this movie the other night, and which is why it's already open. But this one is an odd duck of a movie. It's very ambitious. It tries to do a lot of things. I don't think it nails them though. I don't think it nails most things. It feels a quick little review for it. It feels a little bit over directed and undercooked all at the same time. I will say I really enjoyed Marlon Wayans. He was the best part of the movie, um, and was not a comedic role whatsoever. Uh, Sometimes you laugh just because he's Marlon Wayans. It's just weird. You do that with comedic actors, but it was interesting movie. I won't put it among the worst of the year. I don't think. I know a lot of people do, but I don't quite pull it there. I don't quite put it there, but I will say it misses its marks. So do that as you will. Take that however you will. All right. So Steve said, I appreciate your videos. I've learned a lot and had a lot of fun. Thank you. I appreciate that, Steve. Um, Having fun is my main goal. If you've learned a lot, that's icing on the cake for me. So I don't necessarily set out to teach, but if that's what happens, that's what happens. And I'm glad that you get something out of it. And Roger, somebody did get the thing. Thank you, Roger. Hey, Roger 1401. I'm glad that you are here. I appreciate it. So someone is going to get to watch the thing, and hopefully you've seen it already. And if you haven't seen it, actually, you know what? Hopefully you haven't seen it already, because I would love to be in a position of getting to see the thing for the first time. Once again, what's Johnny watching? Johnny says, I've never seen Wild Style, but that R 4K is begging me to add it to the shelf. Yeah, it's a nice addition. And while we're talking about uh him, I'm gonna go ahead and get that get that code up in just a second. So again, bear with me as my top of my head winds up in the screen. As it's actually, a little. Some of you who are content creators yourselves, you will understand this. Um, that the room I'm sitting in is actually dark. I just have to have a ring light right on that side of me, so that is what you are. That is why it's not pitch black in my room here. But seeing anything is a little tough. So let's see what we get here for him is what I'm typing up. One, and here comes that code. So again, that will stay on the screen for a little bit. Again, anybody who wants it. I will say, if you haven't seen it, I know if you're like me, you've been watching a lot of these, you know, best of 2025 and worst of 2025 videos that have been going on all week and will continue into January. I may do one myself. Um, and you've seen him on a lot of these lists. I will say, give it a watch and see what you think. You may think that it's one of the worst, but it is ambitious. It does try to do a lot, and it does have some pretty cool visuals. So do with that what you want. And another trip to Barnes and Noble. This one I was going for. I want to say it was an Arrow sale. This was before Wild Style was out, I think, and I was going to look for something else Arrow that I wanted. Um, all three, came away with three things that are not Arrow. None of them are Arrow. These are studio releases, but they were on sale. Is how this wound up. So one at a time, I will go ahead and get these up also, and I will start. with I will start with this movie here, which is Civil War. And Civil War is a really, really interesting film. I watched it actually before I bought it, and the reason I bought it is because it's a movie I got to watch again. Just gonna be 100% honest. Um, I'm not. I'm. It's one of those movies where I know I liked it. I'm not sure how much I liked it, and I'm not sure what I thought of what it was trying to say. If it was trying to say anything, because there are some people like, oh, it doesn't really take a side, doesn't take a side, doesn't do this, it doesn't do that. So I want to give it another watch. Is what I really want to do, and just to see how I feel about it after a second watch. And I'm gonna move that for a minute. Let's get into these comments real quick, and then I'll get the code up for uh, Civil War. And Steve is encouraging Johnny to go ahead and buy Wild Style. And we have Jeff is here. What's going on, Jeff? AKA John Doe Juggalo. He made it back. I think he was here before we had to shut it all down. And so thanks for coming back. Smirk is also here. What's going on, Smirk? And Johnny says, make sure your 4K disc for the Wiz has the second pressing text around the rim. I will do that. I will check that out. I'm not going to do it now, but I will definitely check that out. Thank you for letting me know that because I didn't realize that they put a anything on there to let you know that this was the correct version or the updated one that actually works properly. And he says it's always nice to see Marlon step away from comedy. Above the Rim and Requiem for a Dream are great ones. Yes, yes. He was particularly good in Requiem for a Dream. But he was great in both. And I do like when he steps away from the comedic stuff. So Roger, who got the thing, does love the thing. Good. I'm glad that you got a hold of it then, and hope you get to watch it thousands of more times. 'Cause and we got a lot of highs back and forth to each other, and that is great. I love to see that. And Roger says I was able to get the code, and I thought him was okay, but could have been better. That is definitely that is kind of where I am. That is kind of where I am with him. I thought it was okay. It could have been better. Um, it was just a lot going on. Uh, Doc Kaiju is here. What's going on, Doc? Doc, recent supporter, also YouTuber. I actually became familiar with Doc through a recent guest of Movie Swap, a Movie Swap guest, Lady Shasha. I would interact with Doc on her channel, and I need to go back. I haven't been to a Lady Shasha stream in quite a while. Again, life has been just lifing. But thanks for coming over here, Doc. And Jesse Plemons is so good in his small role in Civil War. Jesse Plemons is underrated. He's a really, really good actor. However a character is supposed to make you feel, he makes sure that you feel that. So, and that's what an actor is supposed to do. That is all he is there for, and he does that job every time. I always think back to Detroit, a movie that he was in, and I hated his guts in Detroit. He was so detestable. Is about the best word. I'm sorry, we already got that code, but I'm gonna switch that up and put Civil War in here while I'm talking. But yeah, he was detestable in that movie, and I couldn't stand him, and that is a testament to his performance, and that is what an actor's supposed to do. I get it. There are actors who may be more flashy, more famous for sure, get bigger bucks than Jesse Plemons, but every time I've seen him on the screen, he's giving me exactly what I needed, not necessarily what the academy needs or necessarily what the masses seem to need, but he is giving me exactly what I needed from every one of his performances, and I appreciate him for that, and I look forward to seeing him on the screen all the time because he kills it just every time. He kills it. All right. Coming up is the code for Civil War. So again, a lot of people have this as one of their top 10 movies. Um, it, was this 2024? Was it 2024? I can't. But it is definitely an interesting and really good watch. So again, leaving that there for a while. Uh, Next thing that I picked up, this is in the same run to Barnes and Noble, and I wandered around. I would say in my area, I used to live in an area with three Barnes and Noble. Well, two technically, and then one like right on the edge, the outskirts of the cities. So it was basically three within about 20 minutes of where I lived. And I don't live there anymore. I've actually moved away from there. I'm about 35 minutes away from there, but I still work in that area. So I'm in that area quite a bit. And so this particular time, again, I went into looking for my scissors because this plastic's being a little bit uh stubborn. I don't know what I did with them. Misplaced them somehow, and I got keys in my pocket. So if you hear keys jingling, there it is because no, I don't have keys in my pocket. Okay, we're just gonna have to get we're just gonna have to get violent with this plastic right here. But anyway, this trip again. So I'm still in those same Barnes and Nobles quite a few times because again they're not far from where I work, which was not far from where I used to live, and they had this steelbook on sale, and I am fighting for my life trying to get this thing open and look for scissors all at the same time. Ah, there we go. Okay, I got it. And they had this beautiful steelbook up for sale for Mission Impossible Day of Reckoning Part 1, or I'm sorry, Dead Reckoning Part 1. Here, not called Part 1 anymore. It was when I went to see it. Not my favorite Mission Impossible movie, but still a good time. Um, that's the back of it in case anybody cares. Yes, there is a digital code in this one also. So let me check really quick, see if anybody has picked up the code for um what was it? Civil War. If anybody picked it up for Civil War. Let's see, just not sure if anybody has gotten it for that, but again, if it's not one that's claimed, I'm going to put it up on Instagram and in the description to this video after the video is done. And so let's go back into the comments real quick. And I've died of the badass is hopping in real quick to like and say hi. Thank you, Doc Kaiju. Thank you for stopping by. And yeah, I appreciate you hitting the like button. I would say check back when you have time. If you are interested in any of the codes, see what I have that has not been claimed by the time this is over, or check me on Instagram. Same thing. I'm just going to post them there also. And I'm about to put up the code for Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. So if you're still here, I appreciate it. Hope to see you. Jeffs and me too. They told me they'd be helping me after the holidays. It's super nice. I'm gonna. What am I going? Oh, I had to get the corrected 4K and Blu-rays from Criterion after contacting them. Johnny's talking about the Wiz, and Jeff was answering him. So I'm really filling me in, guys. I know you guys all understood that. And says I love seeing the Godzilla box set in the background. That is my favorite box set. That is one of my favorite box sets. It's an amazing set. Um, had to save up for that one. That was quite an undertaking at one time. I did get it on sale at one of the half off sales. Stacy, hey, this is Acres of Movies, aka Stacy says hello, and thanks from Stacy. Hello, Stacy. And Dot says, please like the stream. Sure, you know how this works. If you hit the like button, that lets the algorithm know that you like this kind of stuff. And maybe recommend you some more of my things. The channel gets to grow, all those kinds of things. I appreciate it. Vince the movie man is here. He says, hey, I grabbed the Civil War code. Thanks. All right, cool, Vince. Glad that you got it. And hope you enjoy it if you haven't seen it. Like I said, my piece on it. Favorite supporting actor of last year. Ooh, great question, Stacey. If you're not familiar with Stacey, is great with these questions, and I'm kind of going off the top of my head. But there's a few really good supporting actor roles. Delroy Lindo matter of fact, like five, six people in Sinners were all great. Um, and now I'm kind of going back over into look at some of the what have I been watching that had great supporting actors. I just watched Wake Up Dead Man, the new Knives Out movie, and they had some great supporting roles in that one also. Kerry Washington was really good, and Josh Brolin was excellent. He was excellent in that film as a supporting. Um, let's see. Those are some of the ones that I can think of right based on what I just recently watched, and I'm kind of scrolling through some things right now, um, just so I can see if there's anything that jumps out at me. I watched Eddington not too long ago, and everybody in that movie was great. It was just whoever you want, just throw a dart at a dartboard, and they were great in Eddington. Um, let's see, yeah, just off the top of my head, or not necessarily off the top of my head, but the ones that I'm remembering and they're jumping out at me right away. Those are some of my favorites. So I appreciate that. And this is going dark ride for Posse or Young Guns. Ooh, that's tough. Young Guns is the better movie though. I like Posse, um, but Young Guns is the better film. And last question, at least for now. Have you seen the Toho movie Matango? The island is mushrooms eating them on the island. I haven't seen. I haven't heard of that one, so I'm gonna have to put that on my watch list and check that out. I did say that's the last one, but hey, Michael Douglas calls and asks and says, should he make Romance in the Stone Legacy sequel or Wall Street 3? I would say honestly, leave them both alone. Just don't. And don't do that. Michael Douglas is way up there in age, and we've already had a Romancing the Stone, uh, Poppy, that movie that came out with Sandra Bullock. I think it was Channing Tatum a few years ago. I know it was Sandra Bullock. Um, eh, it was okay, and Wall Street 2 was not good. So I would say leave them alone. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't need those. I wouldn't mind seeing Michael Douglas in something else, but yeah, I don't need those. All right, so I'm gonna get this code up, and then I'm gonna show you what else I got there. The last Barnes and Noble thing um, that I got. So this was Dead Reckoning, and so the other movie is actually related to that Dead Reckoning. Once I say that, you know what it is that I got. Um, and I'm curious you guys' thoughts on this movie that I'm about to show. That is the code for Dead Reckoning. So if you even figured it out, and by the way, this was 40% off again, plus a discount. So I got it pretty cheap. And the same goes for this film here, which is The Final Reckoning. So this is not a steelbook, this is a regular 4K. And I'm very curious to you guys' opinion on this film. I'm gonna say that I did not like this movie. If you're a non-collector, you might be wondering right now. Even if you are a collector, you might be wondering. But if you're a non-collector, you're definitely wondering, well, why do you buy? because if you saw, I'm opening the plastic now, so I've seen the movie. I went to the theaters to see it. Well, just to defend myself there, I'm a completionist or completist. I forget which is the correct one. But if I have all the movies in a franchise, I'm gonna finish it and get them all. And so there was no doubt that I was gonna get this one, and I may revisit it and change my mind. I may like it later on. Um, but I did not like this movie. It was extra long, repetitive, boring. Didn't fill the story. It didn't justify its runtime, which is one of my favorite sayings. You know, I, I don't mind if a movie is 90 minutes or 190 minutes. I don't really mind as long as the story you're telling fits that runtime, right? Uh, this movie didn't do that for me. So recently, let's say, okay, let's do this. A lot of you are fans of the Lord of the Rings movies. They're all the regular versions are 3.5 hours long. And then some of you watch the extended cuts all the time, which is 4 hours long. But when you watch those movies for fans of those movies, they're justified in how long they are. You get something out of all of it, out of just about every minute of it. With Mission Impossible, with the Final Reckoning, I did not get that. Um, had some great action sequences, but they weren't all as hyped up as they were as far as on screen. As far as him doing it in real life, yes, Tom Cruise is insane, and I'm convinced that he is really just trying to die on the screen sometime. I mean, why are you riding an airplane on top of the plane? But just for our amusement, you're a nut. But I definitely went to the theater to see it. So him doing it is the most amazing thing, and that's what carried it. But as far as pizzazz on the screen, it didn't come off as crazy. It didn't come off as crazy as it could have, given some of the things what we've seen when actors didn't really ride the plane. You know what I mean? But yeah, I am gonna watch it again because I'm gonna go through the franchise and rewatch them all at some point. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Dead Reckoning or the Final Reckoning. Sorry. I'm curious what you guys' thoughts are, and let's go back to some of these. And Ben Stiller, Smarmy Strange World, and Fresh Horses. I haven't seen Fresh Horses. I've heard some good things, some bad things about that movie. I do want to check it out. Best part of Wall Street 2 was Charlie Sheen's cameo. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that was pretty much it. Uh, Michael Douglas says thanks. Yeah, I hope he does see this. That would be amazing. And leave me a comment. I would definitely blast that all over all of my social media. Um, excited for your new acquisitions. Which 2026 ones you want to acquire? I'm excited for Under Siege Special Edition. Well, I haven't really thought about that. I don't. I'm not the person who keeps up with physical media news as far as what's coming on my own. I kind of find out through people like Disconnected and Mid Level Media. I find out through those guys what's coming up. So I don't really know, other than whatever movies are hitting theaters next year, right? I know those are coming out. So I don't really have a good answer for you. You did tell me here that Under Siege is getting a special edition. That's cool. I don't know if I'm gonna upgrade. I have Under Siege and Under Siege 2 on Blu-ray. I don't know if I'm gonna upgrade those though. I mean, they're cool, but nothing I want to spend a bunch of money on. Hey, Caprice is back. Yay! Now I can hear you. Yes, yes. Now you can hear me, Caprice. And you couldn't hear me before. What I was saying was I was giving you your flowers and telling people to definitely follow you on Instagram. I love all the pictures of you and your family and the devotion that you show to them. And I appreciate that as a family man myself. And Steve is welcoming you back. Doc tells me that Matango is a hidden gem. So that's a movie that was suggested for anybody who just got here a little bit ago. I haven't even heard of it, but I'm definitely putting that on my watch list now. That is for sure. Johnny says I'm the same. If I get the first one, I have to complete the set, even if they're bad. I have to get all the ones in the series. Yeah, that's what's happening. So I don't necessarily like uh, the Final Reckoning, but I had to get it to complete them all. So it is what it is. And call me crazy if you must. Good movie, especially if you've hit the green stuff while watching. I guess that's Matango he's talking about. And she's saying hello. And I'm gonna say that I'm gonna count myself among the lucky few who've had Caprice on my channel. So I've spoken to her and I've seen her on a couple other channels. So I've heard her speak. And when she says hello, darling, it is amazing. So I'm not gonna try to do it any sort of justice because I can't. Okay, so that's just we can't. But just know that it is amazing and heart melting. So thank you. Every time you say it, I when you type it in the chat, because you also type it in the chat quite often, and when you're speaking to people, I love it, and I hear it every time you type it in. It's kind of like that Morgan Freeman effect. If you see a picture of Morgan Freeman and you start reading something on it, you hear his voice. That's kind of that effect. And Doc just talking back to Therese, and it's surprised no one is asking him, "What's up, Doc? What's up, Doc?" Two things come to mind: Bugs Bunny for that, and the Fu-Schnickens. If you know, you know. Have you seen Georgia the Mayor, Winningham, Jennifer Jason Lee movie? Have not seen that Georgia the Mayor, so I do want to. I do want to check that remake. Honeymoon in Vegas with who? I'm curious. You guys' thoughts on that? Whoever the comic actors of the day is will be fine with me. I'm not. You know. But it's not. I don't know if I've even seen that one. I've seen that movie, so that's a good question. I thought Final Reckoning was just okay. That's what Roger says. Yeah. Make Star Wars License Collective sequel where Harry and Lloyd and Zoolander, Hansel and Harry and Kumar, Bill and Ted and the Three Amigos all go hang out with Lando on Cloud City. Why not? That sounds insane, but why not? Billy Joel biopic. I guess I don't know much about Billy Joel's personal life to know if it would make a good biopic, and I haven't seen the Bruce Springsteen one yet, but I haven't really heard great things about that, so I don't know. It's Mastermind, Josh O'Connor, Kelly Riker, best movie of the year, maybe so. I haven't seen that one yet either. Uh, Nikki is back. Hey, Nikki. She says good evening, and thank you for coming to hang out, Nikki. Falling Down streaming series. WB Netflix has bad. Falling Down 8 episodes. And Kugler wants to make new OJ movie. Who do you cast? Interesting. Who would I cast as OJ? I mean, was it? Oh, that's it. That's an interesting. I would want someone who I don't know yet, to be quite honest with you. Though, if there is somebody out there who I think can fit the bill, it might maybe Aaron Pierre has sort of the look. If you don't know who he is, Rebel Ridge, the Netflix movie from I want to say last year, might have been earlier this year. I think it was earlier this summer. Um, so Rebel Ridge, Aaron Pierre, that probably be my best one. Gave me a bunch of names here, and yes to some, no to others. Not a big Pete Davidson fan, but I get it. Saying hey to Nikki. All right, so I'm gonna pause right there. Alan Lloyd Chewbacca scene, very cool. And just gonna pause on Johnny. And actually, you know what? I'm not gonna pause on Johnny. He's saying Nikki, hey to Nikki. I'm gonna pause on Jeff saying hi to Nikki because that is actually his mom, even though some others call her mom. So I am gonna pause right there as far as the comments goes. And really quick look, I don't see if anybody picked up uh, Dead Reckoning, but I am going to go ahead and put in the Final Reckoning. That is Dead Reckoning. So let's get to the Final Reckoning. So yeah, that was one of those movies I walked out of really disappointed. when I went to the theater and saw that. Um, it's one of those things where I think the series went out with a whimper and not with a bang. But you know, it is what it is. And who knows? You throw enough money at somebody, maybe Tom Cruise will make another one. I'm sure I'll go back and see it just to see if he redeemed himself. Though I'm not sure how long he can keep doing insane stunts. Um, so while that's up there, I'm going to Wally World. Coincidentally, found my sisters down. I don't really mean to. But anyway, Wally World or Walmart, as some of you like to say. I don't always say Walmart. And there wasn't really much that I picked up, but it was a couple movies that sometimes, especially with these types of movies, I tend to get them day one, or not necessarily day one, but as soon as possible when they come out. I just don't. I should wait, but whatever gets the best of me, and I don't wait. And in this case, that was the first one of these was Superman, and I'm kind of going back and seeing if you guys get the lenticular effect because that was really really cool. I was not expecting them to put it out with a lenticular slipcover, and I'm again not the biggest slipcover guy. So, but when I can get a cool one like that, I really do enjoy it. Of course, no lenticular on this side. And yep, Superman does indeed have a digital code. So that will be going up in a second. It is a 4K. For most of these are 4Ks that you guys have been seeing. My question to my fellow collectors: usually a release like Superman, and the next release I will show you. No, actually, the next one is not the same. But a lot of 4K releases now, especially from the studios, or you know what, the boutiques are doing the same thing. They're coming out without the Blu-ray, and this is what bothers anybody. I know a lot of us who are serious about collecting. We have 4K, um, so it's not a case where we won't be able to watch it. But some people are like, I've heard the case where, hey, I've paid all this money for this movie. I want the 4K and the Blu-ray. Or they're like, well, I want the Blu-ray in case my 4K is working, or I want to loan it to somebody who doesn't have a 4K. And then other people are like, I just want a 4K. That's it. This is fine. And it's kind of where I am because I don't, nobody in my family really uses physical media anymore. So I'm not loaning out discs like I used, like maybe I was years ago. Um, so no, everybody streams everything now, so it doesn't really bother me. I guess having a Blu-ray backup would be great because I do only have one 4K player now. Um, yeah, maybe in the future, hopefully in the future, I'll get a second one because I do need a second one for upstairs and downstairs. But that is where I am with that one. And let's head into the chat real quick. And Stacy, I'm going to try to get through a lot of these questions, Stacy, but I can't promise you a answer for everyone, but these are fun though. Al Pacino says he's going to come by my house and do a commentary. Do you wait for him to suggest one, or do you have one ready? Ooh, you know what? It's Al Pacino, and if Al Pacino is coming to my house, even though I have a lot of Al Pacino movies back here, I'm gonna let him come into this room, pick whatever it is he wants to do a commentary on, whether he's in it or not. Put it on and just let him go. Because it's Al Pacino, right? What do you know? If I pick one, I'm picking Scarface or The Godfather or The Godfather Two. Even though I have other Pacino movies too, or Heat. I might do Heat because I don't hear him talk as much about that one. But in reality, if Al Pacino comes in and says, "Hey," I was gonna try to do a Pacino impression, but I suck at that. But anyway, but he says, "Hey, you know, was I'm gonna say." what do you want to watch? Just whatever it is, we'll do it now because it's Al Pacino. Um, Next one, Carl Reiner makes The Jerk and The Man with Two Brains and Summer Rental and Summer School and takes a big swing with Sibling Rivalry in 1990. I love Thirsty Alley and the various characters in that. That is completely fair. Roger got The Final Reckoning. Cool. Very cool. New Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Who do you cast? We've had a slew of actors who've been doing dual roles here in 2025. Maybe not a slew, but we've a few. Michael B. Jordan did it with Sinners. Robert Pattinson did it with Mickey 17. And we've seen a lots of other actors do it in the past. And whoever it is, I would think it would have to be somebody who is really good at physical acting. Like, when a lot of animated, a lot of body motion, that kind of acting, and a little more reserved for both sides of that coin. And to be honest with you, I would love for this to be a little bit older character, not a younger character. I like for this to be a little bit older character and Jim Carrey to do that because he is incredibly skilled at both. Um, so I would love that. Let's get him out of the Sonic movies for a little bit and put him in Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and see what he does. Villeneuve calls me. He says he should adapt the spy training, falling apart book, Broken Claw, and make his own Bond story, or a combination. And who you tell him to have as a villain, Stephen Graham or Cher, is who Stacy would pick. I don't know anything about Broken Claw. I do know Bond, and who would be a great Bond villain? We've had, oh wow, we've had anybody who I was going to name. I think we've had. Um, yeah, who, who who would we have? A nice twist on that would be, of course, now that we have a new James Bond coming, Daniel Craig would be a great twist on that. But I don't think people would appreciate that. Um, let's get a straight up female villain in there, and Tilda Swinton. Get Tilda Swinton in there. I think she's great at everything, acting wise, even when she shouldn't get the role. It's another, it's another story. Roger says I want them to include the Blu-ray. Very cool. Very cool. Um, Roller Coaster for Cannonball Run or Air America Cannonball Run. We putting Al Pacino on Movie Swap. Man, that would be amazing if I can get Al Pacino on Movie Swap. That would be amazing, but that's not something I'm even entertaining the thought of being a possibility just yet. Is the Gauntlet underrated? I don't think I've seen the Gauntlet. And new Sam Raimi movie is great. So happy for Rachel McAdams. Uh, and I'm gonna pause there, and we're gonna go ahead and get the code for uh, Superman up on board here in a second. And I hadn't really talked about Superman, at least not on this stream. I've talked about him on a couple of different streams, and I really enjoyed Superman. I really did. It's a movie that I would say restored my faith in DC, kind of. And when I say that, I mean DCEU DC. I don't mean DC overall because I thought the Batman a couple years ago with Robert Pattinson we just mentioned was really good. And but the MC, the DC, I said MC, the DCEU definitely lost its way and was scrapped for good reason. It was just floundering, and we were getting a bunch of bad movies. So I'm glad they did what they did, even though a lot of us were attached to some of the actors in the roles. Gal Gadot. I'm not sure. I think that's how you pronounce her name is Gal Gadot. Um, I don't think she's a particularly good actress, but I think she plays Wonder Woman well. And so we're gonna be losing her, as far as I understand. Um, I'm Jason Momoa, he's Aquaman as far as I'm concerned. So I'm not sure where that stands, if that's up in the air or not. But we're losing him. But this version of Superman replaces the Henry Cavill, uh, Zack Snyder version, and I enjoyed Man of Steel, but I didn't love Man of Steel. And the problem with that movie for me, it was trying too much to ride on the coattails of. Remember, this is not long after The Dark Knight came out, so this is trying to ride those coattails and The Dark Knight Rises, and made Superman much too like Batman. And then with Superman versus Batman, when that movie came out, you kind of doubled down on it because now you have two characters who essentially were trying to outbrewed each other. They were both moping around the whole movie, upset. And Superman is a character who symbolizes hope, and that's what this movie gave us. And yeah, it was a little bit heavy-handed in this messaging. I won't deny that. Um, but it was a fun movie, and the character of Superman actually believed in us, and that's what makes him a great character, not necessarily that he has all those powers. So I hope I explained that well enough to let you know that Superman was my favorite superhero movie, superhero thing that to come out in 2025. I did a discussion with my friend Troy over at the Comic Book Movie Collector. He changed the name of his channel. Used to be Guide, but we did a conversation, the best and worst in 2025 superhero stuff on his channel. So go check that out. Again, Comic Book Movie Collector. Um, it was a really, really fun discussion. So I all that to yes, I really did like. Do you want Showdown in Little Tokyo special edition with new longer version? It'd be cool. I don't have Showdown in Little Tokyo, so yeah, that would definitely be cool. Didn't like Mr. Terrific or the character or performance. Wow, you might be the first person I've heard say that because for most of the people that I've talked to, he's one of the favorite characters in the film was Mr. Terrific. So I'm surprised to hear you say that. Sounds like Dell isn't a fan of the Snyderverse. I'm not a fan of what he did with Superman. I really did like his version of the Justice League, though. I really did like that. And even though, yes, Superman is still dour in that one too, but the movie he gave the characters a lot more room to breathe, and he had 4 hours to do it, and it worked. So I was a fan of that film. Um, just and I did like Man of Steel. It was Superman v Batman was just horrible, and yeah, it just didn't work for me whatsoever. Caprice absolutely loves Superman. Don't understand the hate. Same. Um, yeah, it's a bunch of people who let's say they don't like progress or they're trying to send us back some somewhere. David has turned into my Superman. No hate to Cavill, but this is my Superman. I'm a little older. I do like David Corn Sweat, but Christopher Reeves is just no doubt about it. But yeah, shout out to David Cornsey who did a good job. And actually, Cavill, I mean, he did what he could with what he was given. So I don't fault him necessarily, except for the whole mustache and the Josh Whedon version of Justice League. That was frightening. Um, James Gunn was saving money with those Pocket Universe scenes. He took the Warner Brothers cash and put it in his pocket very well. So Stacy does not seem like a fan of Superman, and it's okay. It's okay. Um, I like the Pocket Universe scenes. I get it though, but I definitely get it. Uh, Reboot Thomas the Tank Engine. Take those in what direction? What train stops? What new ideas? I didn't watch Thomas the Tank Engine. My kids watched it a little bit. It came out when But at least I'm not gonna say it came out. 'Cause I don't know when Thomas the Tank Engine came out, but I never watched it as a kid. I don't know if it was even out. But my kids watched it a little bit, and they didn't really care for it all that much. So you know, I don't really have any thoughts on that one. Who you want to produce or help make Inspector Gadget new one, and who will be a good Dr. Claw? Josh O'Connor Gadget. Josh O'Connor's cool for Gadget. Um, I hate to say this, but Matthew Broderick wasn't bad. Back in the day, he's too old now, but he wasn't bad. I think, yeah, you got a lot. It feels like a role that they would try to stick. Okay, let me back up. Timothy Chalamet is probably too big to do an Inspector Gadget movie now, but they will probably stick someone in who is like him. I don't know who that would be, and but that's my feeling for that. That's what they would do. Even though I think he should be a little bit older, maybe not Matthew Broderick old, but I think it should be a little bit older actor, someone in their 30s, maybe even 40s, who does has some comedic chops about him. So that would be cool. And Adele symbolizes hope. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right, so let's go ahead and I did have the Superman on there for a little bit. I'm going to leave it up for a second, but I'm going to talk about the next movie that I did pick up from Walmart, and that was, of course, Fantastic Four. And this one, another polarizing one. Some people didn't like it; it was just too slow and called boring by a lot of people. I really, really enjoyed it. All of the family dynamics worked for me, so I was intrigued and involved and engaged all the way through the film. And for me, it's the best Fantastic Four movie that they've made. At least one that actually has the name Fantastic Four in. Incredibles is still the best Fantastic Four movie. But anyway, this one is really good in my opinion. And there it is, the Fantastic Four. And again, curious to you guys' thoughts on Fantastic Four. Best rags to riches comedy, King Ralph. Ralph was cool. Trying to remember what all came out that could be considered rag to riches in the '90s. Throw them out there in the chat because I can't think of any off the top of my head. So anybody who can think of a rags to riches comedy in the chat, go ahead and do that. And I'm gonna get ready to put uh, Fantastic Four up there in a second. I do have just a couple more things, and then I'm gonna let you guys get out of here because it's getting late on my end. This thing is actually something I found. It's just this is a DVD, and I found this on eBay. Was it? No, no, no. I found this on Amazon. And it's a movie I saw way back when it came out in the '80s. It stars John Ritter, it stars Ann Archer. It is actually a superhero movie. It's got labels all over. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop this label. Because I'm gonna watch this thing pretty soon because I haven't seen it since the '80s. So we're talking, 40 years pretty much since I've seen this movie. And I was just a wee lad. And so I don't remember much about it other than I watched it about 30 times back when I was 12. And it's a superhero movie that came out at a time when we weren't getting superhero movies other than Superman. Superman, that franchise was going strong. And of course, they had the Supergirl, the spinoff. But other than that, any superhero movies we were getting weren't good. And this movie, I'm going to say this is a great movie because I don't remember saying that it was a great movie even then, but it was fun and I look forward to revisiting it. And some of you may have no clue what I'm talking about, and that is this movie, Hero at Large. And this is one of those movies that would be kind of the template or the protocol or the prototype rather for something like Super or Kick Ass that would come out decades later. In that, this is just a regular guy. Um, and I think he gets a job posing as a superhero, playing a superhero, like in the mall or something like that, or security guard. I can't remember. It was something along those lines. And then he accidentally stops a real crime and gets some notoriety from that. So he actually adopts that persona. So yeah, I have this, and as a spoiler for another YouTuber, because I know that they're not here. I talked a little bit about Troy, the comic book movie collector. He has a huge, huge collection of superhero movies, and or comic book related movies. The largest on YouTube, he's fond of saying, and I think he's right. It's over 1,300 titles or something like that. But I've watched his full collection videos for a few years in a row now, and I don't ever remember seeing this movie in there. So this movie, I have two of them. I had one of them is well, it went to Australia. It was a whole mishap, but it's gonna get to him at some point. So Troy, if you're watching, this movie is coming to you along with the other movie that we talked about. So this movie is coming to you. It's John Ritter superhero movie from the 80s called Hero at Large. Not sure if you knew anything about this movie. But yeah. So be on the lookout for that, Troy, if you watch the replay. If not, it'll be a surprise when you get it. And that's cool. And now I'm gonna go ahead and put in the code for the Fantastic Four. And just going back to talking uh, about that movie for a minute. I was listening to a few people talk about this movie, and it is really course correction for all of the other Fantastic Four movies. You know, there's the Tim Story movies. Well, let me go back. There's the Roger Corman movie that never actually came out. Then there's the Tim Story movies. There were two of them. Then there was uh, Fan Four Stick, which was just atrocious. So this one feels like Marvel kind of making up for all of those, kind of trying to correct their wrongs or make up for past sins. And I think that they did a really good job. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about Fantastic Four: First Steps. I didn't say the whole title if anybody needed it. Yeah, Fantastic Four: The First Steps. Um, I thought that all of the characters, I thought that they got them they did them pretty good. They did them all pretty good. Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards still had a great year, but he's had several great years because he's in everything. He's in Eddington, by the way. Excuse me, and also great in Eddington. And so yeah, see that movie. Even though I didn't pick that movie up, but see that I'm not even sure is that out yet. And forgive me, I've been talking for a minute. I'm going to take a sip of this version I got here. But yeah, that's how I feel about the Fantastic Four. Let me know what you guys think of it. And going back into the comments for a second, and I'm going to put that back up before I get to the other ones. Uh, agree. Really enjoy Fantastic Four. Casting was immaculate. It was. They were all so good. They were all so good. I will say this about that cast, Fantastic Four cast. You know, everybody focuses on the main cast, right? You you have to the team. Everybody focuses on them, and it makes sense because that's who the movie's about. But but I do want to talk about an actress in this movie who I don't think she ever gets her just due, and that is Natasha Lyonne. She played the teacher that uh, Ben or the Thing was falling for. Everything I've seen her in, she has been amazing, and I'm talking about everything I've seen her in for 30 years. She's just good. She did have a movie early, I think it was earlier this year, might have been last year, called The Three Sisters. She was really good. If you have not seen, if you have not seen The Three Sisters, at least I think that was earlier this year. I'm trying to find it on the letterbox page. Um, why is it not one of the first few things? This is not going in any order on her letterbox page. But if you've not seen her in that, um, or is it Three Women or is it Three Sisters? Might be Three Women then. But if you've not seen her in that movie, I would definitely check it out. I'm just trying to get the make sure I got the actual title for that movie, and it is not that one. Three Women. That's something different. All right, so I'm gonna look that up. I'm gonna come back to that. But if you've not seen her in anything really, she's good. If you've not seen her in anything besides Fantastic Four, she's really. Who would you cast as Shaman for the MCU? I'm not sure. Sure, and I know I'm getting. There we go. Okay. Thank you, Holland. Holland got me. Three daughters. His three daughters. Thank you. That's the movie. But yes, really, really good movie for Natasha Leone. Um, I highly recommend her and that movie. So really, really, really always have loved her. Um, I'm trying to find my place back in the comments because I just moved. Oh, there we go. All right. John Ritter taken from us way too soon. I would agree. Uh, a lot of us know him from Three's Company. I grew up on Three's Company. Sling Blade, he was great. Bad Santa, he was great, and I've always enjoyed John Ritter. I highly recommend 1993 Map of the Human Heart. Hope you enjoyed that one. Thank you. I will check that one. Ritter, very kind, as from what I remember. And do you like Skin Deep? I I liked it when I saw it, but it's been 30 plus years since I've seen it. So I couldn't give you an honest answer. I don't remember a ton about it. Uh, and they all laughed. I don't think I've seen They All Laughed. And I enjoy Hero at Large. Yeah, yeah, that is a good one. Dimension really like Fantastic Four. Cool. Jeff got the Fantastic Four code. Cool. Outstanding. And Caprice, a huge Ari Aster fan, was not a fan of Eddington, and it kills me to say that. Ooh, I really liked it. I really liked it. I get it, because there's it does it could be a lot. It could be a lot, and it's definitely not Hereditary or um, Midsommar or anything like that. So definitely a turn. Laren stopped in. He had to stop in and say, hey, Laren, I appreciate you popping in. And we got a bunch of people saying hi to Laren. And have Loomis in Stephen Hawking type mode. Can't leave wheelchair. Ed Harris is Loomis. Yes, that works. I mean, Harris is great. I mean, he's a really actor. And Laren saying hi to a bunch of people. All right. And will Strictly Business 1990s get a special edition? Do you like that? I do like Strictly Business. I don't know if it's going to get a special edition. I don't know if it's known enough for that. But then again, a lot of small movies are getting them these days, so who knows? And since I don't need to put the Fantastic Four code up there, I'm going to almost finish. Wait, do I have two more stacks here? All right. This next stack of movies was my one purchase from the Groove Entertainment sale. And we got two movies that have a digital code and something that doesn't. So we're getting down to the nitty gritty as far as codes go, guys. Let me get that other. There we go. All right. So again, getting down to the nitty gritty as far as codes goes. So let's go ahead and get the first one up, open and talked about, and the code up there, and then we can talk about the next thing while we're doing that. And that is the 4K of the live action How to Train Your Dragon. Uh, I did watch this one. But I really enjoyed this. But I really love the How to Train Your Dragon franchise. I think that everything they added, because this movie is a lot longer than the animated one, everything they added worked. And that's hard to do because I just watched Lilo and Stitch, and everything they added to that live action version didn't necessarily work. I don't hate that movie; it's fine, but but this was really good. So, How to Train Your Dragon uh, is a live action adaptation of an animated movie done right. I will say that. Uh, Not sure how any of you feel about How to Train Your Dragon, so let me know if you bothered to watch that. Like I said, I didn't make it to the theater to see that, but I did watch it just recently. After I bought it, I decided to watch it, and I really enjoyed it. I like For me, that is one of my favorite animated franchises, as far as uh, just as far as quality for a trilogy. Um, it's weird. I think the first one is a great movie, and I think either of the other two, both of the other two, are weaker movies. They're good on their own, but as part of that whole trilogy, it becomes amazing. So if you watch one just by itself, man, it's good. Maybe it's not, but together, I think they are a fantastic franchise, and this live action adaptation did right by it. So I will say that it did right by it. And there is the code for How to Train Your Dragon. And that brings me to a TV series actually that I grew up on and I had to purchase because I grew up on it. And it is The Adventures of Superman with George Reeves. So we talked about Christopher Reeve, George Reeves, 1950s TV series, and this is the complete series. It is a very thick box with lots of discs in here. How many discs are in this thing? I don't even know. Let's see. This has It doesn't even say it. I'm not going to open it to find out right now. But yeah, this is something I watched every single day when I came home from school. Um, I would watch this, and I would watch the Adam West Batman series. They were on every day, and I loved it. It's kind of goofy looking when you watch it, especially now that I'm a whole lot older and I've seen a whole lot more special effects in my life. But it is awesome to have, and I do plan on revisiting this series because sometimes you just want to relive your childhood. So I don't know if any of you older guys, there's a few of you Gen Xers out there, and maybe you grew up on it, maybe you did not, but I definitely did. So hey, that's what it is. Um, can't help myself. All right, the next thing that I picked up is the other thing I picked up from Groove. The last thing I picked up from them was Megan 2.0. I have not seen this movie yet. I'm gonna watch this one pretty soon. I've heard bad things about it, uh, but I haven't seen it. I went to the theater to see the first one. Did not get a chance to go see this next one, and so I'm looking forward to see it, even if it's not the greatest thing in the world, because I do want to see what direction I mean, I have an idea that they went in an action film direction, and that is interesting. Uh, Terminator did that. Alien did that. And I'm not saying Megan was on the level of Terminator or Alien, but it was a fun time. The first Megan, uh, the first Terminator, I consider it a slasher flick. It's definitely sci-fi uh, horror, and the same thing happened with Alien. It's space slasher, really, space horror. And the second film in each franchise was action. So let's see what they did with Megan. I don't really know. Again, if anyone, I'm about to take down How to Train Your Dragon. So if anybody did get that one, great, let me know. And I'm gonna go ahead. Matter of fact, I'm gonna leave it up for a minute while I type in the Megan 2.0. So if anybody out there saw Megan 2.0, let me know what you guys thought of it because I didn't see it. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. Hopefully I'll do that in the next week or two. And hopefully it'll be a good time. It won't be as bad as, as some people have told me it is. And there is the code getting ready to come up for there's a code for I didn't put the name on there, but that's Megan 2.0. Let's put the name on there just so people. All right, here we go. Well, let's go ahead and put it back up there. All right, there's the code for Megan 2.0. And I think that will be the last digital code of the night. I do have one other little bitty haul, and this was from a thrift store. Just three items, three DVDs, and my total cost in here was $3. I'm gonna run through those really quick, and I always love finding those. Since we were on the subject of TV, I do have another TV series. This is season three of Arrow. Uh, Got an action flick. We have Salma Hayek in Everly. This is really fun. I have so much fun with this movie, so I'm glad to have this one. And then the last one is Jim Kelly is the star. This is one of those DVDs that have four movies starring the same actor, and I didn't know that this particular one existed. But it's all based around Jim Kelly. If you don't know Jim Kelly by name, he was excuse me, he was the black actor in Enter the Dragon. And here we have four of his movies: Black Belt Jones, which is amazing in the best and worst ways, Black Samson, Hot Potato, and then Three the Hard Way is really the biggest reason that I bought this because uh actually have Hot Potato and I think I have Black Belt Jones on another DVD. But Three the Hard Way is a movie also stars Jim Brown and Fred Williamson, and so it's kind of an Avengers of black exploitation movie, and it's awesome. So that is the last thing that I have to show off, guys. We are all done as far as that goes. Quick couple of things as far as the channel is concerned. I My big project is coming up with the top 25 movies since the year 2000. That's still ongoing. I'm going to get back into those videos, putting them out. I think I'm up to 2006 will be the next one, 2006. So I've got a long way to go, but I'm going to try to crank those out a little more quickly. Uh, Hopefully within the next week you'll start seeing them. Hopefully, so fingers crossed on that one. If not, 2 weeks. But then we're going to get through. We're going to try to zip through those and get through those within a month or two. Then a couple of now. I'm not going to say that by spring. Let's hope for that. Let's hope for by spring, and we'll get to the top 25 movies since 2000. I do want to do a best of and worst of for 2025. I may do another live stream maybe next week, something like that, talking about that. Um, we'll see. If not, I'll do a quick video on that. And got a couple of other things in the works. I will let you know what those things are when they come to fruition. I don't really want to put them out there just like that just yet. And that's really well, movie swap. I do want to get back to that. I had one guest. Him and I have been going back and forth a little bit, and we're having some trouble coordinating schedules. So hopefully we'll get that taken care of. And then it's a guest that I really do want to have. So, fingers crossed that we get that all worked out. Other than that, yep, I'll be trying to find some more guests and getting them on here. Uh, Again, trying to fit them around my schedule because there are other things happening in life. So I don't know how often I'm going to be doing those things, doing the movie swaps. I do want to do them as often as possible, but it is what it is. Again, I do have some other things in plans with some other YouTubers. So fingers crossed that those things work out. And yeah, well, let's have a great 2026. I hope you had a great 2025. Thank you for supporting me and my channel through 2025. And hopefully you will continue to do so. And hopefully I will provide you with good reason to do so. That is all that I have for you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. And if you've been here before, thanks for hanging out with me again. Bye bye.